What's up, guys, and welcome back to Rebuild It. It has been a while since you last saw us, and I got a new car. Let's talk about it. In 1948, America was booming. The war was over, and the combined war effort put millions of Americans to work, boosting production across many industries. With that boom came innovation in truck design and implementation. During this time, a truck was a truck, designed to work and haul and nothing more. It was basically a seat, a steering wheel, and a manual gear shifter. There was no need for anything else, because if people wanted a comfortable ride, they would just use a car. What if pickup trucks, previously made for commercial fleets and farmers, could be made accessible to regular average Americans with a need for a utility vehicle with a daily driver comfort? Thus, the F-Series was born. On January 16, 1948, Ford announced the brand new F1 pickup truck. The F1's cab was 7 inches wider and provided more headroom than its predecessor. The front fenders were also wider, taller, and designed to look more like a single piece. Previous models had a vertical grille, but the new F1 was distinctly different and had a wider 5-bar horizontal grille, with the turn signals integrated into the top grille bar. The familiar long pointed hood connected the F1 to the lineage of trucks up to this point, but it now incorporated bold Ford lettering at the nose. The sides of the hood still had a long vent, but now featured 2 chrome bars and the Ford logo in block lettering. The doors on the 48 were moved forward 3 inches, making it easier to get in and out of the cab. Ford also added vent windows to the F1, which is part of the truck's 3-way ventilation system that consisted of the 2 vent windows and added a cowl vent as well. Then, after 3 years of production, the F1 needed a facelift, which it got in 1951. In 1953, Ford celebrated its 50th anniversary by launching the second generation of Ford trucks. The F100 debuted after the Korean War, putting an end to the previous F1 nameplate in honor of the U.S. Air Force's first supersonic fighter jet, the F100 Super Sabre. Ford made the 53 sleeker and more aerodynamic than the previous models. It now featured a longer hood with more curves, and the front portion became part of the fender. Designers did away with the large single-bar grille and added a double-bar grille that also incorporated an engine designation logo at the center. Even these early years saw substantial changes. The first year, the F100 also was the last year the trucks in the United States had a flatbed engine, with the next 2 years of the F-Series pickups upgraded to an overhead valve nicknamed the Power King, capable of reaching 130 horsepower, which was impressive for the time. 1957 unveiled the third generation of the F100, and with it came the introduction of the style side. The 57 was a completely redesigned truck, whose styling eventually changed the entire pickup truck industry. The rounded, big-fendered look of the 50s was gone and made way for a squared-off, wide, and forward-leaning truck that appeared modern and rugged. But this design wasn't just created for appearance purposes only. It allowed for more room under the hood, in the cab, and most importantly, in the bed. Ford offered a 2-tone paint as an option, and also available was the custom cab upgrade, which added color-keyed upholstery, sun visors, an illuminated cigarette lighter, a bright metal grille, and of course some script on the door so that everyone knew you had the cool custom cab. 1958 marked an important year, as it was the first time that Ford offered a factory-built 4-wheel drive vehicle. Prior to this period, trucks had to be converted in order to run 4-wheel drive, but in the late 50s, car manufacturers started to explore methods of doing this work themselves, so they didn't need to outsource this important and expensive upgrade. In 1961, a new generation was released, the very controversial unibody design, meshing the style side bed and the cab together. Ford designers knew if there was no separation between the two, it would allow the truck to have a single, continuous piece of sheet metal from the cab to the back of the bed. Designers thought that this new body style would majorly enhance the appearance of the truck, but the concept also made it less expensive to produce. Ford also touted that there was more space in the bed. The new cargo area provided 9 cubic feet of additional space, more than the previous models had, equaling 16% more load space. What Ford didn't count on was the fact that the trucks depend on a little bit of flex. When carrying a load, there generally starts to have some issues with twisting, which is exactly what happened with interesting results. Doors would open seemingly on their own and refuse to close, even when driving down the road. But this was actually preferable than the other option, which was doors being stuck to close and refusing to open at all, often trapping drivers in their trucks. In addition to that, rocker panels rusted more often and more quickly than they already did due to improper sealing around the door. In short, the unibody design was a colossal flop. 64 through 66 saw the unibody completely phased out of production, new suspension, and a 4-door crew cab model. For 1965, the company introduced a new revolutionary twin I-beam independent front suspension that had coil springs instead of leaf springs and a larger shock absorber mounted outside of the coil springs. The result was much smoother ride and a more axle control for better traction and handling. The 5th generation of F100 is referred to as the bump side. The rounded hood had decreased in curvature through the previous 3 generations, and by the late 60s it was gone entirely. Instead, the front of the F100 had become squared off. During this period, Ford began to focus more on making their F-Series the pickup for everyone and added more engine choices and trim levels than had really been considered previously. Some of the package names indicated exactly who Ford thought was the ideal customer. The Contractor Special, Farm and Ranch Special, and the Camper Special were all fairly direct names with easily intuitive features. Although there were minimal changes to the 69 F100 as far as styling and interior design, the big news for this model year was that the addition of the 390 cubic inch V8 that replaced the outdated 352. With Ford's production setting record highs in sales, the 73 model year allowed Ford to try some significant changes to the F100 that were disguised under a similar body style. Ford changed the outward appearance of the 73 by inverting the so-called bump into a dent. Henceforth, this generation is known as the dent side. They also added a new grille that featured inner squares with the headlight bezels completely removed. The signals were moved to the top above the headlights with an opening in between them that had the Ford lettering stretched across it. In 1978, Ford sold more than 1.3 million F-Series trucks, which was 60% of the entire truck market, making them the #1 seller of trucks in the USA. This year received a new grille, which is now in the center of the new front trim. The headlights got a bezel again, and the turn signals were brought down underneath the headlights, and the Ford lettering made its way onto the hood instead of into the grille. The 1979 model year brought forth a new promotional campaign for trucks, the famous Built Ford Tough. Round headlights were also replaced by rectangular headlights across all trim levels. Over these 6 generations, Ford created some of the most beautiful and longest-lasting vehicles ever made. Easy to maintain, cheap to repair, and even great to look at, these trucks hold a special place in the hearts of many people. This is evident by the amount of these trucks that are still being restored and are on the road today. This is my 1978 Ford F100. It's a single cab, short bed, 2-wheel drive, as I'm sure that you can tell by looking at it. It's got the 302 V8 in it. This is the little baby one, but one of the more reliable V8s, I think. It's got the round headlights now. When I bought the truck, it came with the square headlight housing, so I'm not sure if it came original with square headlights and they replaced them with round, or they were, vice versa, they were going to replace the square headlights. I personally like the square ones better, so I might swap those out. It's automatic with C4 transmission. Just a couple things you can kind of see around. It's got side exit dual exhaust right in front of the rear wheel there. It's got brand new tires on it. I had to put those on there immediately after I bought it because the other ones are dry rotted. It's got both front and rear new chrome bumpers. When they put this one on, they put it on the low setting. So I just have to tilt that bad boy back up there and get it to where it's flat and looks normal. I don't know why you'd want to put it on there where it's sagging like that, but that's how the previous owner did it. The super keen eye will notice that there is some chrome trim here, and right there that were not on the other side. I took that off the second that I got it, just to see, one, how the paint was underneath and just make sure it wasn't, rusted or anything, but just to see how I liked it without the chrome trim. And if you're like me, you think that looks way better. And so I just haven't gotten this other side off yet, but I'm going to in the near future. Got a little bit of Bondo right there. So what I'll probably do is just replace that whole fender, go in a junkyard somewhere. I've already found some parts for this thing. We got a spray-in Rhino liner. They were nice enough to give me the trailer hitch attachment that I can just hook back up if I want to. Leave it off for now. It's got sliding back glass. Got our spare back there, of course. And jumping into the interior, got a super, super nice leather reupholstered seat that they did for me. We've got just red and black interior. We've got the fake wood glove box there. They put this black dash pad on here, and I think they just slapped it right on top of the other one. As you can see, it's the red one I think is still underneath, and it's probably cracked too, but this one was also cracked. So probably have to end up replacing both of those. Missing the horn cover on the steering wheel, but the horn does work, so that's good. Previous owner was nice enough to put a Pioneer single DIN head unit in there and just wire the speaker up right under the dash there. And got a nice big air cleaner on top there. Previous owner said that the radiator is new, and I think he said he did some of the brake work too, so that's probably a new master cylinder. It looks pretty clean to be, you know, original. But all in all, it's a pretty clean truck. I mean, there's just a couple little odd and end things cosmetically that need to be done. Filler there. There's a couple little baby bubble spots of rust right there you can see underneath the paint that's starting to bubble up. And then the paint on the roof is absolutely terrible. It's all faded there. The spot on the rear of the bed there and a little bitty like quarter-sized piece under the driver's side floor panel is the only rust on this entire truck. So that's a huge deal, especially because normally on these trucks, you'll see a spot right there rusted out. All this under here, usually the fender wells, all rusted out. And this one is not. This one is in very, very, very good condition. It's got a couple of leaks. I think it's got a tiny, tiny little oil leak. It'll drop like 3 or 4 drops over the course of a couple days sitting in the garage. So got a transmission fluid leak as well. I crawled up under there the other day, and it's missing one of the bolts for the transmission pan on the bottom there. And so I think that once you put that, maybe drop that pan, put a new gasket on it, and replace that bolt, it probably fix that leak. So not a big deal. A lot of these hoses in here all look new. Look like they've been, you know, replaced recently. And so this truck has 152,000 original miles, I think. There's some service records that came with it that seem to indicate that. Also, this truck is unique as in it will be something that you will see me working on by myself. Dad's not going to be a part of a lot of these just because obviously we live 3 hours apart. So it would not be super convenient for him to come up and help me with this stuff. And this obviously probably not the best truck to take on a 3-hour road trip on a regular basis. Also, collect your car insurance, so you can't put a whole lot of miles on this thing. This generation of truck is very special to me. My dad had a 79 F250 whenever I was growing up, and I had a lot of really cool memories in that truck with him and my brother, and I like these trucks a lot. They have a special place in my heart. So, and I think also these are about to start going up in value. There's a lot of guys who are kind of in my same situation who are my age, whose dads had one when they were kids, and they're starting to buy these trucks back up. So in the next 5 to 8 years, I think these trucks are going to be worth a lot more money. And so I think it's a solid investment, and then it'd be something cool that I can work on with my son too. So I'm excited for that. Let me know what you guys want to see done with this thing. I'm just going to get it. Obviously, it's going to get a repaint at some point. It's going to get all the leaks fixed and, you know, get a good thorough cleaning. And, you know, a lot of the parts that are messed up are going to get restored. But what else do you guys want to see done with this truck? Let me know in the comments down below. Now that it's pouring down rain and I can no longer feel my fingers, let's take this thing on a quick drive. And I can show you what it's like to, you know, ride around town. And this thing, contrary to popular belief, will do 75 miles an hour on the highway. You just hear a lot of wind noise. But yeah, let's start it up and take it for a ride. This thing does fire right up every single time. The most I've ever heard this thing crank is twice. So it was a very, very well taken care of truck. So it runs and drives great. Like any old vehicle though, it's got some floatiness. It doesn't have a ton of slop in the steering, but it's got a little bit. Definitely, you know, good considering how old this thing is, almost 50 years. It's a 3-speed automatic. First gear will get you to about 10. Second gear gets you to about 25, and then you're in third from, you know, it's from 25 mile an hour all the way up until this thing tops out at, you know, the speedometer says 100. I don't think this is going to make it to 100. I bet it'll probably do 80. Another good thing to check, I guess, since it's pouring down rain, is if any of the window seals are leaking, and it would appear
All of the seals and everything on this truck are in good shape because I'm not seeing any leaks. I don't have any water coming in anywhere. There was a guy who owned this before me, who owned it for like 18 years, and I think he's the one that it's been repainted at some point, because the original paint color in this truck is black, and I'm sure on camera it looks black, but it's, if you get it in direct sunlight or in like LED lights like in my garage, it's actually purple. So you have to be like right up on it before you can see that. So it's been repainted. Like, he replaced a lot of the seals, like the windshield trim and all that kind of stuff. Like these seals right here, which you can't even see. These kind of seals are all new. They're all fresh. They're not crusted or anything. The back glass has been redone. It's got the brakes are refreshed. Which it's got power steering and power brakes, which is cool. That's something I wanted. Does not have air conditioning, but I've got these. I've got the cool little windows. So I've got a few ideas on like modifications that I'd like to do to this truck. What kind of stuff do you guys want to see on this truck? I mean, like, for the most part, parts on this thing are so cheap. I think the cheapest thing that I have on the Mustang is the same price as the most expensive thing that you can get for this. Progress report, we do have a small leak coming in from the top of the windshield. I'll have to get that fixed at some point as well. Right in the middle, of course. Let's head back home and I can show you some other really awesome stuff I found inside this thing when I bought it. So, with this thing being not a Mustang, fitting it in the garage is a little bit of a squeeze. On the back, we've got about a foot of space between the truck and the wall. Got about 6 or 7 inches right there between the workbench and the truck. Got about a foot on that side of the garage. Got about 7 inches on this side. And about 8 in the front for the garage door to close. So it's a tight squeeze, but most important thing is it does fit. So, all that being said, let me show you the cool thing that I found in the glove box when I bought this thing. So this is the original bag from the Ford dealer back in 1978. And in this bag, almost completely untouched, is the owner's manual. How awesome is that? In here we have the owner's card, which I'll cover the guy's name, but we have the original VIN plate right here, and then the service date 8/24/78. So pretty awesome. And then there's a notebook in here with, you know, service stuff, you know, oil filter, oil and filter, and with, you know, all the mileage and stuff it tracks all the way through 2010 in here. Here's the warranty booklet from 78, the original one. Just I can't believe that all this stuff, it was still in the glove box, and so you can tell how well this thing was taken care of when it's got all this stuff still original. Most people, you know, I don't know of anybody who's ever gotten one of these trucks unless you're the original owner, who still has, you know, the manual in this thing and all this other stuff in this incredible condition. And in addition to all that paperwork, this truck was full of parts. We got the front 2 fender liners in there. We've got the piece of rubber that I said was missing from the steering wheel. It's missing the Ford logo, but other than that, it's in great shape. I just have to get it pressed back on there. Duralast transmission filter kit. We have one of the front bumper little guard, I don't know what you call this thing, but there's actually 3 of those, and it only came with 2, so I'm not sure where the third one came from. Maybe the guy had an extra. It came with this right here. There's the other end of it. I'm not sure what that is. If any of you guys know, let me know in the comments. That'd be helpful. These bed rails came with it. They're original to the truck, I believe. A lot of these 70s trucks came with these, and so I'm keeping those for whenever I go to sell it eventually, because I'm sure that the owner would like to have those since they were original to the vehicle. And then this entire shelf right here is full of other parts. And the original owner might have been planning on doing like an engine swap with this thing or something, because here's some rocker arms and a cam for an 89 to 95 F100, you know, the 5-liter. F-150, I guess it'd be in that generation. And there's another cluster with the middle part that, of course, is in my truck right now missing. This is the one that was originally in it. And so I'm not sure why it was replaced, because this is an awesome shape. Maybe some of the tabs are broken or something. But good quality gauge right there. There's the square headlight housings that I was telling you about earlier. Have the high performance trick kit. It's got a Holley carb on it. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. A new Holley carb. Fuel filter. Some odd and end restoration kind of stuff, like the passenger side window. The window roller downer, I don't know what else you'd call this thing, handle, is missing this black piece right here. So I just got to pop the other one off and put this one back on. Got an extra badge, and some other odd and end hardware in there. There's two more of those bumper guards. This box is behind the seat. It's got some bungee cords and like a ratchet strap and some other stuff in there. Well, guys, I think that just about does it for this week's video. I am super excited to get started on another project. I have not had a project of my own since we first did the Mustang almost 5 years ago, which for me, that is an extreme amount of time to be without a project vehicle. I usually average about 2 to 3 years on a project, and then I get bored with it because I finish it and then want to move on to something else. So this will be more of a long-term, like more restoration than a rebuild. But hopefully you'll still be interested and will enjoy watching this. And you guys will be a part of this project with me. I'll take a lot of what you guys say into consideration whenever we do modifications or how to restore certain parts of the truck. If you like what you see, make sure you hit the like button down below, and then make sure you get subscribed so you don't miss out on any videos on this truck in the future, and make sure you hit the bell because you have to do both of those things now. Thanks, YouTube. That'll end off this week's video, guys, and our verse of the week is 2 Thessalonians 3:13, which says, "But as for you, brethren, do not grow weary of doing good." Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. And always remember, don't retire it if you can rebuild it. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in and watching this week's episode of Rebuild It. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any awesome content. Have a good one.